All right, what's up, y'all? My name is Evan Strong. Today is the 20th of November, 2025. I am the founder of In The Image Clothing Company. Just imagine having mud on my hand and then just touching the white shirt. Yeah, this video is on our main side. One of our fourths as In The Image Clothing Company. What we do here is allow the body to work. Okay, the title of this video, before I get into any more explanation, is There is Only One Way the Feet Work. And I'm going to really get into this, no opinion, no way to approach anything, just discussion on the anatomy of the feet and how truly all we can do is allow the human body to work. I'll get into it, discussing it through the anatomy, discussing the bones, the muscles, the ligaments, the tendons, how the body really works, the neutral position that's in everything in our bodies, right? As we discuss under In The Image Clothing Company, there's only one way the human body could ever work. And I say it so bold, I say it's impossible to train the human being. Truly, it's physically, legitimately, mechanically impossible to train the human body, to get it to do anything. It's just a mechanical machine placed onto a rock in space. There's only one way it could ever possibly work. All musculature only pulls, right? The human body only pulls. A video under the main side of In The Image Clothing Company here. Muscles only pull two endpoints together, but there's opposing sides to a function, okay? So we can close a joint or we can extend a joint, but we're just pulling two endpoints with a muscle. The muscle connects to a bone through a tendon on one end, and then a bone through a tendon on the other end, and it just pulls, 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 even though we're going opposite directions. The human body really truly only has one way that it could ever possibly function, and that is activated as a whole. If the body was never altered, it would just work. Animals just work. Stretching goes the opposite direction of the only way that muscles in the body work. All of them, the entire body only pulls. So, I get bold, and I get sounding like I'm screaming. I get legitimately yelling loud sometimes. I know, and I've got a loud voice. Because we don't know what we don't know. We can't be held accountable for what we don't know, but it's physically impossible to train anything in the body but something like an arch to the foot. So, we talk about clothing. The human body and its center line, the sternum, the spine, the trachea, the nose, and our jaw, the jaw stabilizing the entire body, all have to stay over Earth's center of gravity, okay? And clothing has to stay on us if it's on us, and it has to stay centered, fit correct, where we discuss clothing has to sit for everybody on this universal human design and be made ideally in all cases that we can from 100% natural materials. The human body is only natural. Natural, neutral, and normal are synonyms within the functioning of the body. Just being a mechanical machine, it has to stay in its neutral positions. That's how it would naturally work. That's how it would normally just be if we didn't alter it. But there's a lot of things. Rotated seams. In The Image Clothing Company's rotated seam modification, one of our many free modifications we give. The dreaded collar seam. Keeping collar centered can't happen if there's a little seam in the collar of our top that goes around our neck, okay? In The Image Clothing Company's dreaded collar seam modification, we talk about a lot of free modifications. We talk about a lot of things in clothing that you would never have to purchase in The Image Clothing Company clothing to allow your body to work. If you never wore clothing, your body would just work. But we live in a modern man-made world. It's also a right-handed world. All the musculature in the body connects to the center line, okay? In the front, muscles connect from the outside of the shoulder into the sternum in the center, evenly on both sides. From the rear of the body, we've got the outside of the shoulder connecting to the spine in the center, evenly on both sides. There's a neutral, two rotations. From the thumbs up here with the bent elbows at our natural waist, right? Keeping elbows at the natural waist, a video under the main side of In The Image Clothing Company. We can rotate our forearms from our fingers to our elbow, internally, back to neutral, and external, and back to neutral with the rotations. But the hand is essentially the shoulder. Straighten the arms, and now we can go from our neutral, internal rotation, back to the neutral, external rotation, okay? From the foot to the hip, the foot is the hip. The entire leg has, from the neutral pinky toe, just like the neutral pinky finger, that's straightforward. We have internal rotation, back to neutral, and external rotation, and back to neutral. There's these doodle dogs barking over here. Just one of them, as far as I can tell. Okay, internal rotation from the neutral pinky toe forward, and external rotation back to neutral. Okay, neutral. Our bodies need to reside in their neutrals, okay? But from the foot to the knee, in this lower leg, it's the same thing as the forearm. There's two bones in the forearm, just as there's two bones in the lower leg, and they rotate like this. Okay, watch this. From my knee up, my leg's not moving. It's just from my knee down to my foot. Straight out that neutral pinky toe forward. There's rotations, internal and external, from the neutral pinky toe forward, from the foot up to the knee, in the lower legs, two bones, twisting. Okay? On both sides evenly. Opposing the center line of the human body, the feet grip arches inward and keep us vertical on Earth's gravity. Okay? So, on the main side of In The Image Clothing Company here, we've got videos talking about the feet, many of them. We've got hundreds and hundreds of videos as of today's date. Some of them are the importance of zero drop shoes, the term, just meaning flat, heel to toe, like our feet are just on the surface of the ground, which is just going to be level, horizontal, okay? So, these boots, just for reference for this video, are from the brand Zero Shoes. They are the Denver model leather. Okay, so zero drop is the term for shoes of any brand that's just flat on the bottom, because our feet would just naturally be sitting flat on the horizontal earth. Okay, the importance of zero drop shoes, we have to start there. You elevate the heels and you've pointed your foot. That's all you've done. Okay, the foot from its neutral, flexion wise, the importance of even ankle flexion, a video under the main side of In The Image Clothing Company. There's pointing the toes, plantar flexion, then back to the neutral, just like we're standing on the ground, and then there's lifting the toes, which is dorsiflexion, and back to the neutral, just like we're standing on the ground, okay? Pointing, neutral, flexing, flexing, both directions. Pointing is plantar, neutral, lifting the toes is dorsi, neutral. Okay, plantar flexion and dorsiflexion, internal rotation and external rotation. There's just neutrals to the body. Okay, how would the body work? Designed in the image of God, placed on the earth. He designed it to work. In the Image Clothing Company, we're a clothing company to allow the body to work. It's not about clothing, it's not about fashion. It's just about the only thing we place on the human being that has to allow it to work. Okay, so the feet would work. There's only one way they could. That's why I show the neutrals. The body just always has to reside in its neutrals. Okay, the natural scapula position, a video under the main side of In The Image Clothing Company. Everything in the body has a neutral. Then the body can work activated as a whole. We can't drag around dead weight. Part of our bodies can't compensate for other parts of the body. Everything has its own role to play, and it works all together. Okay. So, the feet. In The Image Clothing Company's shoelace technique, it's one of our two prerequisites when we just talk about, in addition to where clothing sits to not alter the body, two things that we do to not alter the body. One of them is, well, when we weave ropes across the top of our feet, there's only one way the top of the foot is shaped, and that matters big time, because the arch, okay, the height of a gripped arch, a video under the main side of In The Image Clothing Company, the arches in our feet grip and elevate and get taller when the muscles pull from heel to toe and shorten and get activated. Now we have this springing ability to the feet because there's musculature from the toes back to the heel, pulling underneath, gripping an arch to that neutral pinky toe straight forward in the feet. Okay, when we're standing. And really just now, same thing, it's just straight out from the pinky toe. I can externally rotate or internally rotate. My legs are just kind of laying on the sides of them. Okay, keeping feet in the outside of shoes. A video under the main side of In The Image Clothing Company. Our feet grip arches inward, okay? Now there's that neutral ankle from the foot traveling up the lower leg that has this slight outward curvature, and then that travels through the rest of our body, supporting everything from our feet. Our feet would sit in the outside of our shoes naturally because they grip inward from the outside of the feet. To pull in, you have to start from outside. You've got to start on the outside of the foot and grip in to get neutral. Then you have rotations inward from there, okay? But it's so common for us to see nowadays, people just stuck in external rotation. Just the feet pointing out. And from there, there's a neutral. From there, there's internal. And a lot of it, okay? Yeah, the body needs to have both rotations on both sides. If it's neutral, and it's physically impossible to train to a neutral. It's the center of two other things. Same with gravity, right? Keeping our bodies over Earth's gravity. A video under the main site of In The Image Clothing Company. It's physically impossible to train for something like our arms to just naturally dangle on Earth's gravity down from where they're connected to our bodies at the shoulder capsule, but that's our elbows at our natural waist. Okay, it's physically impossible to train the human body. There's only one way it could ever work. There's just a neutral position to everything, and muscles only pull directly in line from two endpoints. Muscles only contract, the human body only pulls, is the same wordage, and we just have to clear bones, okay? There's only one way the human body could ever work. It's physically impossible to train a gripped arch in the foot, and there's only one way the feet could ever work. Okay, this video is titled, There is Only One Way the Feet Work, okay? There's just no claim, no opinion. It doesn't matter. You don't have to be like an athlete. It's not like I have some kind of a choice over this. This is God's design. I'm just telling you the truth. The thing is, in modern day, we have a lot of things that are new. Stretch within clothing that didn't even exist until decades ago from today's date. It goes the opposite direction of the only way muscles could work. Stretching the body goes the opposite direction of the only way muscles could ever work. Where are you going to stretch to? There's only a full range of motion. You bend your arm all the way, you hit your hand on your shoulder, and you hit the bones together, the two bones in the forearm and the bone in the upper arm, radius, ulna, and humerus, mesh. You straighten your arm all the way out, and the bones mesh together, fully locked out. It's impossible to stretch anywhere if you're not residing in your neutrals, though. You're just lacking part of your body's motion in only one end of its neutral. Okay, like the foot always being pointed out in external rotation when there's a neutral and then internal rotation from there on the other side. Okay, we just have to reside in our neutrals, just meaning allowing the body to work, right? There's no other possible way. You'll never get it to do anything. It's physically, mechanically impossible too. And that's why people do it, right? The stretching, the workouts, the massages, the physical therapy, and the chiropractors, and all the things is because they're trying to get their body to get into a position. It only has one position that it resides in. And outside there's a lot of motion, but it has to stay neutral always, only and ever, unless you're really doing something very specific, okay? So with the feet, In The Image Clothing Company's shoelacing technique, right? The only way the human feet are shaped. Nothing to do with us as In The Image Clothing Company. No claim, no possible dispute. It's not an opinion. There's only one way the human feet are shaped, okay? So that's actually a video. Under the main side of In The Image Clothing Company here, there's only one way the human feet are shaped. I just showed In The Image Clothing Company's shoelace technique, okay? The reason I said the upper of the shoe is important and the top of the lacing is important when we're walking on the bottoms of our feet, well, that's only half the function. Like I said, you know, we have, let me get some of this lint off my feet, okay, with my hands here. We have, from the neutral, pointing the toes, plantar flexion, Back to the neutral, we have dorsiflexion on the other end. Lifting the feet is half of their function. Pointing the feet's only half of the function. And so the bottom of the shoe is involved in pointing the feet, but the top of the shoe is involved in lifting the feet. When you walk, you point your feet, you lift them back up and step down pointing, step up lifting. It's just two sides to a neutral. There's only one way the human body could ever work. There's no possible opinion. Nothing to train to. You just can't alter it. You just have to allow it to be, unaltered, right? Clothing, so many things nowadays are just altering the body. But we talk about everything, right? Eating, sleeping, standing, walking, sitting, breathing, hydration, everything we do as a human being, and doing it naturally. The only way it ever could happen. It's not an opinion or an approach to choose to approach life naturally. It's just meaning if there wasn't anything else but the human being and the earth that God designed it to be on, it would all just work the way it was naturally designed to work. Okay, so here you go. The feet, okay? Yeah, I mean, we're lifting our shoe off the ground with the top of the foot, okay? That's why the lacing's so important. It's half of your functioning. You're only training half of your functioning by pointing your foot. You're only training half of your functioning if you're in external rotation, because there's a neutral and you can lift the foot, and there's a neutral and you can internally rotate the foot. There's only one way the human body could ever work, and it's in its neutral positions, okay? So this is the thing with the feet is, if you don't start from your neutrals, okay? Heels on the ground, now you're neutral. A perpendicular angle from Earth's gravity pulling down from your knee through these lower leg bones to your heel. And then there's a neutral to dorsiflexion, lifting the toes, and plantar flexion, pointing the toes. Well, I won't compensate here with my knee. Okay, there we go. Keep my knee vertical, or my lower leg bones coming up to my knee. Okay, there's a neutral, flat on the earth. The earth has always been here before human beings. You can't have heels on your shoes to start with, or else you could never possibly address anything correct in the entire body. The feet are the foundation, okay? But then there's also a neutral, like I'm saying, straight forward. Well, we got to be pointing our feet the direction we're going. If you're walking forward, you have to point your foot forward. But you have to know where that forward is, because it's not straight out your big toe, because that actually causes your foot to point out, okay? Partially into external rotation from the neutral. You've got different length toes, okay? The outside of the toes, the pinky toes, are the shortest. We come up and in like an arrow to the center line of the body, neutral, okay? The big toes are in the center as the longest. We come down and out to the pinky toes on the outside as the shortest, okay? The toes are there to spread the weight evenly. We're supposed to roll evenly off the ends of the toes, but the toes aren't flat, okay? The toes angle down and back. So our feet actually roll inward when we walk, just because we put even weight and pressure on all of our toes. Roll off the ends of all the toes with even pressure. Now look at my ankle. In this position, there's this neutral outward curvature through the whole leg, from the toes, with even weight on the different length toes, so they're slightly gripped in, okay? There's just a length difference to the toes. That's a huge point that you cannot miss when trying to figure out how the human body works, and that's all you can do is figure it out and allow it to. You'd never train anything with different length toes. There's only a neutral, because the toes themselves, they have digits in there. They have little bones in the toes that bend, and they only bend in line, right? The bones meet the bones and connect through ligaments, and between there is cartilage which cushions the bones. They can't bend in any other position than just directly in line, the way that the bones that come from the ankle joint out the foot and out to the tip of the toes and all the joints in there connect. There's only one in-line position for joints to just bend. The bones are immovable, but they connect to each other, and there's motion between them, but only in line, like this. If you try to not be neutral and bend your toes in a position they just don't work in, well, they're not aligned. There's only one way the human body could ever work. It's a mechanical machine. It's a kinetic chain. It's just this will bend, and then this will bend, this will bend, and then 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 we come up in line. Otherwise, things will just bind up. And there's only one way the human body could ever work. There's no opinion, no possible way to train to it. So, we have to have this slight outward curvature of the lower leg because the length of the toes is just different. And so as we put weight on all the toes evenly, what it does is, instead of pushing straight like this, the weight pushes in. The arch grips from the heel to the toe, starting at the outside of the foot, and pulling in. Because the inside of the foot's where the gap is underneath. That's the actual arch that we think about. The outside of the foot completely stays on the ground from that neutral pinky toe forward, like this. Now look at my ankle. My ankle all the way up to my knee. It's a straight line out from my pinky toe. If I try to point my big toe forward, it's not a straight line up to the knee. There's just only one way the human body could ever work. And then there's internal and external rotations in these lower leg bones. Two bones that are just rotating over each other like this. Well, I'll do it with my foot moving, right? Internal rotation, external rotation. My knee's not moving. It's just the lower leg bones rotating. And so they have to clear each other and just move straight. And we can walk straight the direction our feet are flexing at the ankle. That will be straight with the direction that our knee is flexing up here. That's only going to happen if you're pointing straight forward from your pinky toe, because the length of toes is longer at the big one than at the pinky. Okay, neutral. There's only one way the human body could ever work. There's no possible opinion. I just say that bold because a lot of people are giving terrible false advice and exercises to get your body to do something. It's physically, mechanically impossible. Yeah, I couldn't possibly have an opinion. Don't believe me. I say it so often. Don't believe in the Image Clothing Company, right? Me, Evan Strong, as the founder. Don't believe us, or me, or anyone at the team under In the Image Clothing Company. Truth is truth. We'll just show you how this mechanical machine operates, and there you go. We couldn't possibly have an opinion on it. We didn't design it. It's God's design. Okay. So what we'll have, though, is if you're in external rotation, just meaning you see people in life standing with their feet sticking out, walking with their feet sticking out, okay? No, I mean, you have to be neutral because there's just bones that have to track. Musculature just pulls two endpoints together in line, okay? There's only one way it could. So what we have is people having their feet stick out in life, okay? Now what? You're trying to walk forward, but your feet are not sticking forward. They're sticking out. Even if it's just slightly. If you bend your knee, now your knee's going back and left. If my right foot is sticking out and I bend my knee, really all my knee is this upper leg bone, the femur, coming in and meeting these two lower leg bones at the knee joint. It's just a hinge where two bones can rotate below it, down to the heel of the foot, and then we have the foot neutral from there. So it's I mean, you have to have the pinky toe forward to bend your knee the direction you're going. Look at this. I mean, it's just tracking in line. If I point my foot out and I bend my knee, well, my knee just goes back and left. It doesn't go the direction I'm going. It goes back and left. Because you've just taken two bones in your lower leg, and you've just rotated them one over the other, and now when they bend, they just have to clear each other. I mean, your knee is just not going to bend straight. If your foot's not straight at the other end of your knee, from the lower leg bones, they rotate. Okay? I mean, if I put my foot in and I bend my knee, it's going to go back and right. Okay? Have my foot neutral and bend my knee, come straight back. Point my foot out, bend my knee, it goes in and left and back. Well, back and left, which is in toward my body with the heel of my foot. But my knee hasn't moved. My glute hasn't moved. My shoulders haven't moved. My hands haven't moved. My entire body is neutral except for the angle of my foot. But the angle of my foot will cause the rest of my body to have to compensate if I'm standing on Earth's gravity. And my feet are supporting the rest of my body. Right now, I'm mostly on my glutes. But look at this. Straight forward from the pinky toe, with my feet pointing out here, they're pointing in the same line, this is a good coloring to see, as my blue pants. And my upper legs, my femurs are pointing out, and my feet are pointing in the exact same direction, give or take, as my femurs. Now when I bend my knee, my foot goes out and in to the outside of my body. I'd have to point my feet straight forward for my knee to bend straight forward. I couldn't bend my knee with my foot sticking a different direction than I want my knee to bend. You just bind up bones and joints and it hurts. It damages your body. There's only one way the human body could ever work. There's no possible opinion. So we have the height of a gripped arch, okay? And from this neutral, straight down from the knee in those two lower leg bones that have their rotations, internal rotation from the neutral, external rotation from the neutral, okay? From here, when you grip an arch, there's just a neutral position. How much activation in the musculature of the foot, pulling the toes to the heels, okay, needs to be there to just walk straight forward and bend the knee forward. Because if you deactivate it, the angles of everything else will just change because your foot's supporting everything else. Come back to neutral, okay, from this deactivated position of the musculature under the feet, neutral, you can bend the knee straight. But you can roll the foot out the other direction from a collapsed arch and get even higher. Now you'd essentially be bending your knee inside because the foot goes like this too. We've got rotations in the lower leg, internal, neutral, external, neutral. We've got flexion of the ankle, pointing the toes, plantar flexion, dropping the foot flat on the ground, neutral, lifting the toes, dorsiflexion, and then putting the toes back on the ground in neutral. And then from here, you've got a neutral to the height of a gripped arch. Here, neutral, you can collapse your arch in, which actually drops the height of the body. That's why we title it the height of a gripped arch. And then you can come back up to neutral height of your gripped arch, and then you can roll your foot up to the outside of it, go even higher, okay? It's just a mechanical machine. There's no way you can possibly train it because there's a center to any direction you could try to train. The center is relaxed. The center is standing on Earth's gravity with your arms hanging straight down. The center is your foot dangling. And where does it dangle? Straight forward from the pinky toe with that nice neutral lower leg, ankle, and foot. Dangling, relaxed, neutral foot, dorsiflexion, plantar flexion, internal rotation of the lower leg, external rotation of the lower leg, gripped arch, collapsed arch. You can't possibly train a neutral. It's physically, legitimately, mechanically impossible. It's not like I have a breakthrough. There's no new information. This is God's design. Since Adam, the first man. But you have so many people training the body only into imbalances. In the Image Clothing Company has no opinions. We are opinionated human beings, okay? But as far as our information and what we're getting down to is the truth that is apart from all of us. Nobody could come up with this. I couldn't take credit for this. But this is what we're missing, is the neutral. This is what we're missing a lot of the times in life, is God. Because we can try to get things to do anything we want, but we didn't design the body. It's God's design. It works how He says that it works. Okay. On In the Image Clothing Company podcast, another one of our fourths, we have discussions on the truth of all things, the gospel of Jesus Christ. No claim, no opinion, but we're all human beings. And we just are discussing in this video, and this is what we do under In the Image Clothing Company, allowing the body to work, that there's only one way the human body could work, and it's because there's a universal human design anatomy-wise. It doesn't matter how you carry fat or anything. It's about the structural system of the skeletal frame's operation being a machine with functioning. Hinges, levers, rotations, musculature only contracting, a center line to the body, a center line to Earth's gravity, and a neutral position to everything. There's no opinion that could ever be had. There's no breakthrough that could ever be had. We'll never improve the human being. We will only ever be able to allow it to work. This is the truth. Take me out of it and just see what's going on. It's the truth. This is In the Image Clothing Company, okay? But we discuss God as He says that He is, designed in the image of Jesus Christ. We're on episode 177 as of today's date of In the Image Clothing Company podcast. Don't believe us. You don't need to be religious. There's truth, regardless of if you want to believe in anything. The only way you can believe in anything is if that thing was there to begin with. The only way you can have an approach on how to train the human body, which is physically, mechanically impossible, is because you've been given a human body as the only thing that you have. An episode title of In the Image Clothing Company podcast, and it's just the truth. Okay, don't believe me. Take me out of this. Take me out of this. Let me be yelling at nobody out in these parks alone, or out on the side of the mountain alone, or right wherever I am, or even when I'm with the people that I'm with. Don't listen to me. For me, I'm just relaying truth. This is God's design. It's impossible to get it to do anything besides what it does. There is only one way the feet work. This video's title on the main side of In the Image Clothing Company. This is eternal truth. This video will last for literally ever. Every human being to ever live, or before I lived, God is the same. Yesterday, today, and forever. We are designed in the image of God. Okay. So I think that's probably where I'll leave this. There's only one way the human feet could ever do anything they do. So I'll discuss some more of what we do, because we have In the Image Clothing Company poodles as one other fourth of us. We specialize in purebred standard poodles, breeding them properly, showing how to do that, registering dogs properly, showing the importance of, okay, keeping less dogs in shelters, more dogs at homes, letting dogs stay natural is our slogan. The same thing as allowing the body to work. We do that through feeding of dogs, but also keeping collars centered, okay, leashes and harnesses, holding these things naturally though. When we hold a leash or a lead for our dogs, we need to keep our bodies unaltered, okay? And so we discuss how to do this to not alter our bodies as the owner of dogs. And we do a lot. Poodle parade events. One of the events we do as In the Image Clothing Company here in the state of Utah. We're based in the southern end of Utah, the United States of America. Bring your poodles, purebred of any size or mixed poodles of any size, and we'll get into nature. Get the dogs into nature, the human beings into nature, just get back to our roots, you know, get people authentic and break people's barriers down by just having a good time, and it'll be awesome. Okay, lots of poodle parade events here in the state of Utah, the southern end of Utah. Okay, come if you'd like. It's beautiful here. A lot of videos under the main side of In the Image Clothing Company, and really just any side of In the Image Clothing Company where there are videos here in Utah to give context on what it looks like. It's amazing. Okay, we have one other fourth of us, In the Image Clothing Company music. A lot of what we do is show the sizing and setup of guitar to not alter things like the neutral wrist. We show just in all aspects of life, fingernails and toenails to not alter the fingers and the toes, okay? That's another thing. We talk about heels on shoes. You have to start with no heels on shoes, zero drop shoes, the term, just feet flat on the ground as if we never had man-made shoes. Before you can ever try to address the human body at all, you have to have fingernails and toenails fully supporting the ends of your fingers and toes And we cut them relatively flat, just so we can stay in this neutral position and not roll out of it. Okay, same with the foot. The neutral height to a gripped arch only comes if the toes have support and backing from the toenails that God gave us to do that with, okay? Again, you don't know what you don't know. A lot of hygiene myths. People cut their fingernails and toenails too short, and then they're physically weak, mechanically, just because they don't have support, okay? You'll have an immense amount of natural strength in your body's only workings, which is ironic, right? But we don't know what we don't know. That's why we're here as In the Image Clothing Company, is to give the truth. We will have good products, human being clothing and dog products. We'll have a lot of events, and we do a lot through the gift of video. We'll do so much through the poodles, so much through the poodles. Our information on letting dogs stay natural applies to all dogs, except for the things that are very poodle specific. But stick around, check us out. You know at least some of what we do here now. And now you know, because I couldn't have an opinion on it and nobody could. There is only one way the feet work, okay? My name is Evan Strong, the founder of In the Image Clothing Company, in this for life. Today is the 20th of November. (2025). Thank you. Check out the other fourths of us, the other three sides of the fourths of us if you'd like to. Because we do the same thing for dogs as well. And this doesn't exclude anybody. There's no human being who will ever be different. Oh, well, that's good to say. I say that, right? If you've got an amputation, deformity, major surgery, birth defect, anything like this that's altered your body, or your body just is like that from birth, or whatever it could be at any time in life, sure. We've got our individuality, our individualistic situations, but we can sit within an anatomy class, or we can look at a diagram of the anatomy of the human body, and there's only one way all the body works together. Bones connecting to bones through ligaments, musculature connecting to bones through tendons. We wouldn't need muscles if we didn't have bones to move with the muscles. That's all musculature does, is pull, contract two endpoints together to move bones. And there's only one way the human body could ever work, and it's neutrals. I'm gonna make a video right after this in the same exact location titled, "There is only one way the hands work." I'll discuss it the same, okay? So yeah, just know you can't do anything in life at all the way your body actually does it if you don't start in your neutral position, okay? Here I'm neutral. I'm neutral at the wrist. I'm neutral at the feet. I'm neutral at the pelvis. I'm neutral at the shoulders. I'm just neutral in my body, always. Yeah, you know, it's not about me, but just meaning I do all that I can to practice what I have, preach what I have practiced. As the founder of In the Image Clothing Company, yeah, you have to always reside in your neutrals. So we've got a lot of videos, and I could reference so many. You know, we've got many hundreds of videos just on the main side of In the Image Clothing Company alone as of today's date. You know, talking about the feet, free modifications in clothing, talking about just the anatomy of the human body itself deeply, like this video, to where there's no possible opinion or dispute. I don't have anything to share with you other than information and understanding of the truth. Yeah. So check us out if you'd like. We will change your life. And that's not a claim. But yeah. I'm gonna leave it right there. Okay. Thank you.